What is going on, my friends? What is happening? How's everybody feeling today on this great Friday? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. This is the show where we discuss trending stories and thought-provoking topics from the fields of politics, sports, pop culture, and sports, and really just so much more. This show is brought to you by Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Rugged is the new smooth. So excited for you for this show, guys, because I am honored and excited to have a special guest on. As you know, I love to bring on guests from all walks of life, all sides of the aisle, because as I constantly say on this show, you know, I'm a middle guy. I'm not married to any party. I'm friends with everybody. I'm a social butterfly. Well, I'm social. I don't know about the butterfly part, but I'm social. I haven't mastered the flying yet, but I'm getting there. But so excited. I have today Mr. James St. John. He is the chairperson for the Hampton Roads Libertarian Party. So very excited to have him on because I think it's election season happening, and there's a growth when it comes to really third parties. People are not happy with their, at least on the presidential side, they're not happy with the two-party system, and really on a local level, because even though we have people on council or people that run for mayor that will run as independents, we all know, hey, they're still going to be having some form of backing or support of a party affiliation. So I think now we all have to just realize that we got to unite. It's people over party, and we just try to come together. And I think it's why you start seeing a growth with I need other options. And so I'm excited to have Mr. St. John on because we get to inform people, hey, you could be a person that's interested in joining the Libertarian Party and have views that lean more towards them. And that's good. That hey, that's a great thing, because as young people, we do have to do our homework when it comes to, okay, where do my views line, and what can I agree with this, can I agree with that? Hey, even though if you're independent, you might vote for a candidate that represents the Libertarian Party. So we're gonna have a great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin pod. Also, as you see scrolling down the screen, new episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast. So that means if you're a listener of iHeart, Spotify, you see my little yep, I'm doing a good job. So either if you're Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, wherever you listen to your podcast platforms, hey, you can tune into the Arrington Gavin podcast. All you have to do is just type in the R Smooth Club Media, okay, R Smooth Club Media, and you'll find the Arrington Gavin podcast right there. Also, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you prefer to watch the video version of this show, you can do so on YouTube at R Smooth Club Media. Let's see, Rumble at the Arrington Gavin podcast, Facebook at R Smooth Club podcast, as well as RSC Media on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, I'm gonna say X, but I'm not getting used to it yet. And X has been up there for a while, but it's gonna be. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. Before I bring on my guest, Mr. St. John, so I'm banned from my house of saying dad jokes. Now, I have a dog. My wife and I, we don't have kids, but hey, I love a good dad joke, right? My wife's like, it's too corny. This is banned from the household. So I might as well share with you all, my friends, the listeners, the viewers here. So, okay, you ready for the dad joke? Okay, I'm gonna do it right now. I haven't quite yet got banned from my radio show, but my co-hosts are like saying, dude, no. I'm like, nope, gotta do it. Why is cold water so insecure? Because it's never been called hot. You like it? Okay, whatever. I never get a response out of you guys, but it's okay. Anyways, let me get on with the show, guys. Again, I've mentioned before, my guest this evening is Mr. James St. John. He is the chairman for the Hampton Roads Libertarian Party. Without further ado, let me bring on Mr. James St. John. James, how you doing there, my friend?
How you doing, Arrington?
Doing great. Well, look, so excited to have you on. I was mentioning with the listeners and the viewers earlier, it's a big election season on the local level, state and federal level in certain, in your selected states and things like that. But I always love to inform our listeners and viewers the importance of local elections, but really just the importance of doing your own research when it comes to having more of an understanding to politics, right? Because as a when we're young kids, we're kind of almost inherit the political affiliation of our parents, because we're surrounded by what we hear in our household and things like that. Until you really, I can at least speak for myself. When I was in college, I started to really say, okay, look, I think my views are starting to lean more here. Once I became a business owner, that shifted a little bit, because now I have to put myself, and not as really a resident, but as a business owner as well. So I'm like, okay, you start, fluctuating, and then I'm like, you know what? I think I'm a middle person. I'm definitely an independent, because I would say, as far as the presidential races are concerned, I voted mostly Democrat. But when it comes to local election, I've always voted back and forth, Republican, Democrat, Republican, back and forth. So I want to first, ask you, James, tell us a little more about the Libertarian Party for those who are unfamiliar, really, of this specific party. Can you tell us a little bit of background of the values of the Libertarian Party?
Well, the Libertarian Party is pretty much all about self-ownership. You own yourself, the fruits of your labor, and your justly acquired property. With that, you have to respect other people's right to their life and their justly acquired property and the fruits of their labor, and that you kind of a quid pro quo. That's pretty much the basis of all libertarianism. Is I'll respect your stuff, you respect my stuff. We won't have an issue. And that's it in a nutshell. And everything, the great thing is everything's built off of that. It's ultimately all kindergarten rules. Is don't swing first, kind of thing, in the playground, and play nice, and don't be the first one to swing, but don't be afraid to finish it when it does come to you. That's pretty much libertarian in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, let's talk more, more about you. Have you always been a libertarian throughout your whole life? Like, how did it start for you, as far as just like really having, in politics, like, around?
Well, what really did it for me was I bought a gun, and I had to fill out the 4472, and well, wait a minute, I have to prove I'm like innocent and I'm not guilty of something before I can have my rights. That was the final straw, I would say. Back when I was in the Army, a friend of mine, he was we would have political conversations. He was the liberal conservative. I was the conservative liberal type, and come to find out we're both pretty libertarian when it comes down to it. Real thing that did it for me was I read the Libertarian Party platform, and I realized that they weren't towing my line, but I wasn't towing their line, but they were towing my line. Because I wasn't going back and forth between, like, with the Democrats and Republicans. You look at platforms like no, oh, yes, no, and the other side it's yes, no, yes, kind of thing. So, but it comes down to you have to do your own research, and you have to critically think about everything you're told. Because, as they talk about, you got to get your news sources from everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to realize the bias behind each news source, and only with that can you filter out and get the actual clear picture.
Absolutely.
So you have to do your own research. Don't take what they say at face value. And you need to be an active participant in politics. I like to tell people, don't vote like you're betting on the Super Bowl. Vote like you're playing in it, because you're going to be suffering the consequences.
I like that. I might need to write that down right there. I might need to write that down.
Feel free to quote me on that one.
I like that because, but you bring on a great point, though, because it's sometimes people do, or voters, they kind of play it as a game of sorts, right? Because
correct,
you will say, okay, who's the popular guy? Like, well, you might vote, okay, who had the better suit that debate, or who had, people do think that. People really don't pay more attention when it comes to their candidates. I mean, one thing I'm always like, I'm not a fan of is when people would rely just one thing, and they'll be like, nope, I'm going with this side. Wait a minute, read a little more, because that one thing can't really define the whole entire, point of thing. Because I always say I'm more like socially liberal, fiscally conservative. So I'm like, boom, I'm in the middle. Right. It's like I definitely, I'm for for movements, but then when it comes to for taxes, of course I'm in the same boat as you. So it's like, that's why I always say, well, I'll just rely in the middle. Now if I might ask, when you said you were more conservative liberal, could I say, like, were you a Democrat initially?
Yeah, I was more on the Democrat side, probably. I would
Yeah.
say more into the centers, but definitely
S-
I originally started probably on that side.
Got you. And
Growing up,
I say that because I have
big
family
business
members
was
that are.
bad and all that good stuff growing up that way. The the main thing I don't like about the right is the religious right. I think they have a
Mhm.
big issue there. The issue I had with the left was, no matter how much you love Paul, it's
Mhm.
immoral and it's wrong to rob Peter to help him out,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
have no problem doing that. And it doesn't matter how successful they are; it's still wrong to rob from them to help somebody out, even if they're poor and they need the help. It's do it
Gotcha.
yourself.
Gotcha.
That's fine. It's great. I have no problem with people taking their own money to it. And you can look at other people and go, wait, why don't you help out? But to point a gun at their head and say, no, we're going to take it and we're going to spend it the way we want it instead. We're the only political party that draws that line.
Got you.
Even with the other third parties, there, every other political party is a special interest group for your stolen tax dollars.
Mm,
Except us,
mm.
we're the ones you're saying, don't take it in the first place. You know how best to allocate your tax dollars. If you think national defense is so good, I'm sure they'll accept a donation at the DoD. If you think this public education is so bad, take your tax dollars down and give them to your local school board. I'm sure it would be to put much better use if you did that than had the government get in the way. If you want to quote me on another thing, I like to say anything that a private citizen can do for X, the government's going to be able to do for 3x the price.
Hey, look, you see, I got my pen right there. You see, okay,
There you
so
go.
James St. John quoted by. No, I definitely will. But again, you bring on some good points, and I mean, I do think that's helpful for these listeners to have an understanding, so that they can, again, have more of a knowledge base. Because I think now, and not even now, but prior, politics is, they don't put stuff in layman's term for residents, for voters. They always will have a caption of vote for me for, ABC. But
They
okay,
always got their 30-second soundbite. Your three issues that you're going for. That's
exactly, and it kills me
that's
because
standard
I'm like,
trade.
let's really talk policy, and don't commercialize it for me. Because one thing I was throughout the I'll just speak on the presidential race when they were doing their debates and things like that. I've watched maybe like 4 out of the 5 or 6 that they had, and at the time where you still had former VP Mike Pence, and you had Senator of South Carolina Tim Scott. The one thing that bugged me was like, dude, you sound like a Hallmark card. Stop signing so corny. Like, it's like, that's why this is the. I'm like, oh my goodness, please. People don't have the patience right now, because you have, the working class, and really just all people. Prices are going up every day. Okay, prices are not getting any cheaper. Crime is back and forth. Of course, we can go on for a long conversation as far as with the immigration and all that stuff that's happening right now. But people want to really be relatable, because they feel as though, okay, I'm going to vote for somebody that's just here to, align his pocket and make unmade promises. And people start losing faith in that. And I think that, and that kind of takes me to the next thing I want to talk about, is really the growth of third parties. There's a huge percentage jump right now for third party options. People are tired of the Democratic side and the Republican side. And I want to ask you, James, like, why do you think, as a person that represents a third party option, why do you think now, like, people are really starting to build up on the third party option? And why you say that, I'm going to bring an article up just to kind of give a little description of what I'm talking about.
The main reason that we have this huge surge in third party candidates is because we have the Trump Biden rematch part duh. That's really it right there. I can say in a nutshell is, look at what the Democrats and Republicans are putting out there for us. We need a sane option, as our former president candidate Gary Johnson said, make America sane again. I mean, we're having a repeat of 2020, and it's like, no. We definitely need something better. People are looking at this going, come on, really? I know one of the things I like to say is there's like about 60% of the people who vote in presidential elections. That's typically our max turnout. It's like them 40% of people. That's who we got to talk to, because give them a reason to come out and vote and contact those people. You can probably sway 10% of that 60, but that other 40 is probably where we got to get people to come out who are just so sick they don't even go anymore.
That is, you're absolutely right. And in this article I just pulled up, guys, while I was talking with James, this is reported by a news source I'm really not familiar. It's called Gallup News, and you can go look it up yourself. This was an article that was written by them. Okay, support for third U.S. Political parties up 63%. So this is something that they've covered since 2003, and they've always seen a fluctuate of continuous growth with third party options. Now, and I'm starting on the high level, and I'm gonna end it off really going on a local level. So on the high level, we're talking about presidential races at the moment. You have what they call ballot access in all states in the United States, right? A lot of third parties don't have certain. Correct me if what were you about to say, James?
No, not technically true. Each state's an individual basis.
Okay.
We have automatic access to most states, but states like Virginia, we're still not a recognized political party like the Democrats and Republicans. We are the Libertarian Party of Virginia is technically a PAC, a political action committee. We're not a political party like Democrats and Republicans. So we still have ballot access issues. All of our candidates in statewide races, except for the presidential race, have to get 10,000 signatures statewide.
Okay. See, learning something new over there.
Well, we have to do general ballot access. The Democrats and Republicans justify it with they have to do the same requirements for their primary access. They do the same requirements when they hold primaries and they go vote for them at the primaries. Like when we have the primaries here in Virginia, but we just end up doing it for the general ballot in November.
Got you. Okay,
but
see,
yeah,
guys,
it's 10%. No, it's 10,000 signatures for the statewide races, except for president, which is 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah, they lowered that one when Mitt Romney ran. And the only other person who got on the primary ballot with him was Ron Paul.
Yes.
None of the other 7 candidates, Newt Gingrich, all them. None of them managed to get on the Virginia primary ballot, and you cannot do write-ins on primary ballots for one thing, because it's a party thing. It's a publicly funded party election kind of thing, which is another point of issue I have with our political system. It pays. I was just about to say I'm not crazy about that. I'm not crazy about that because it's like right. Yeah. And you can only vote in one of them. If there's a Democrat and Republican one going on, like in the city of Chesapeake, you're only going to be allowed to vote in one of them. Because we have like the dual system. Or that's the way the law is written. We don't in Virginia. We don't register political parties. We just register voters, and that's all Virginia registers on people. Any party affiliation is on the party itself to maintain their own lists. That's not maintained by the state at all. So when the state does a primary election, there's 3 different ways you can have. You have a primary, you can have a convention, or a firehouse primary, which is like a abbreviated election at smaller areas. Okay. But if you do a general primary and the Democrats do a general primary, the Republicans both do a primary, you're only voting in one of them at the same time, even though they're both going on simultaneously. Interesting. Okay. Yes. Okay. See, and guys, works, and they won't let you vote in both of them. But interestingly enough, if like say the Republicans are having a convention, you as a Virginia voter are entitled to try to get in on that list, and you can still go to the Democrat primary and vote on it. I mean, they're going to ask you to sign solidarity oaths and everything, but they're not enforceable in court or anything. But interesting. See, this is why that's one of the quirks of the law. You pay for an election that you can only vote in half of. So look, that's why
look, guys, I'm telling you, having a simple conversation, you don't know what you catch up, because that's something that I'm unfamiliar with. So I truly appreciate you bringing that up, James. Okay, so then in this case, does the now on coming down on the local side, the Hampton Roads Libertarian Party, do they endorse local candidates in the area? Like, how does that work with the Libertarian Party here in Hampton Roads?
If we have some Libertarian Party members running for office, we can definitely endorse them.
Okay.
But as we said, most people they're not as nonpartisan as they claim to be, as we all know. But we are free to comment about any candidate who's running for office. They're running for public office. They can come speak to us and tell us why they want their vote. We'll let anybody who's running for public office come and speak. If you're in elected office, even better, come speak to us. We'll gladly listen to you and tell you where you're going wrong and the way you should go. That's kind of what we're supposed to do. But
I think it's very important, and it's funny because I'm living in Chesapeake, man. So I'm friends with a lot of people that actually serve on our local council as well, and I have people on both sides that I interact with on both parties. One of my good friends, he's a chair for the Chesapeake Democratic Committee. Had a conversation with him. I'll interact with people of the Republican Party as many a times, and it's funny when you mention how they always say that it's not a non-party race, a non-partisan race, but best believe when it's election day, okay, I get a face full of merch from all. Okay, so vote. Hey, Republican candidates. Here's the ballot list of all the Republicans that are running. When I'm talking about the messaging is like galore in your face, commercials, texts. It's like, good gracious, but we're nonpartisan though, so it's very interesting. I'm like, you might as well just say, hey, you because we're very unbalanced here in the city of Chesapeake on our council.
Well, we're going to try to set up a grading system and just comment on about whoever's running for office and politicians in general, and we're free to do that, and give them praise when they need it and ridicule them when required. So that's most of what we're going to try to do locally. We have a lot of candidates who are looking to run. Most of what we're limited by is having candidates who want to run. That's our greatest handicap, is people who want to put that L behind their name when they can, or that's we run the candidates we get when we get them. And that's it's hard when you're running up against an organized political machine.
That's very true. And I mean, and I was gonna ask also. I would ask, being that you are not specifically like connected with one city in comparison to like how some of the party affiliates are in the 757, but you are representing all of Hampton Roads. So I would like to ask, do you guys like pay attention at all the races happening within all the 7 cities in Hampton Roads?
We try to pay attention to all of them. We're not professional political watchers. We're amateurs. We are at best, trained colonial militias going against, the British redcoats. Is the best analogy I've heard of what we are. But we hold a line for them, and as I said, when you imagine how much farther they would be if they didn't have people like us, they're saying, well, wait a minute, we got this thing called the Constitution we have to abide by, and being a thorn in their side, and we'd be a lot farther along on that path that we seem to be sliding down right now, which we were all looking at and going, whoa.
Well, I will say you have one very, I would say, vocal individual that represents your party, a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Olenek Nicholas. He was Nick is a funny guy. That's all I can say. He's a funny guy.
Character. He's
very much a character.
He is his own character. I give him that. So,
but you know what? But I do have respect for him, because he's very, he's not ashamed of sharing his opinion, his side. I'm a person I've always said, hey, look, we can always agree to disagree, as long as we can shake hands and respect each other's opinion. That's exactly. I think that's where I think society is missing out on, because let's be honest, when a certain candidate runs and that you're within the same family or within, you know, friendship, and it's like, you voted for what? Oh man, I can't talk to you anymore. I can't talk. I can't see anymore. Like it's sad that it has been, politics has kind of made it really divisive in households, in friendship, and just in inner circles. And I'm like, guys, let's just all realize we don't like the same basketball team, right? We don't all like the same football team, right? Now it's obviously it's different, because I mean, stuff like when it comes to politics can really, you know, it can affect what goes on in your everyday life. But you still have to use that comparison, because let's be honest, we have some diehard sports fans. That team is their life. Okay, they dedicate, they paint their bodies in freezing cold temperatures, and they're out here shirtless. So there's some dedication going on. So we can all agree.
There's places I know when you're born, you choose red or blue, and you know that's the school you're going to when you grow up, kind of thing. So,
I mean, seriously, it is crazy, and I'm very fortunate that, you know, I was raised in really a household where my family, we all had different opinions, you know, politically. I never really followed, which I mean, it was just it was everybody, because, you know, being from, you know, really from Chesapeake has always, in my opinion, locally been a very red city. Now, my good friend who's the chairman for the Democratic committee, he says it's more purple, because obviously he starts on the higher level, federal level. It's always voted Democrat, even for gubernatorial races, you know, it's voted Dem. But again, I'm like, okay, our council has one Democrat and 9 people, one Democrat, the rest are Republicans. Very unbalanced, very, 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 and that's including a school board as well. So we're very unbalanced when it comes to that. As how long, James, has the Hampton Roads Libertarian Party as a group? How long has it been in existence?
We're going on 4 or 5 years now.
4 or 5 years. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Any candidates that have caught, you know, the group's attention happening with some of these races at all?
Nobody going on right now. They're typical your run of the mill, you Democrat, Republican. You're going to get nobody that stands out, has any particularly good libertarian stance on anything. No, there's no school board members I know who are out there advocating for school choice or privately funding homeschoolers with any kind of tax voucher or anything like that. Just they just want to make the school a place where you'd rather not leave from, kind of thing. And it's like, no, I'd rather not. If I'm going to be forced to fund education, which in Virginia we have a constitutional mandate to do, I'd rather my tax dollar actually go to actually educate a child and not be beholden to some government agency to do with as they dictate necessary, kind of thing. So
amen to that, brother, because as much as I know how important education is, I feel as though that sometimes on a collegiate level, even in high school, they kind of lack on what's the word I'm looking for, preparing them for real life, you know, things, if that makes sense. Like universities, I feel as though sometimes they're starting to be more money grabbers, and it's like, I know people that were summa cum laude that is struggling right now, that still hasn't got a job in their related field that they, you know, that they educated for, right? As far as on the high school level, I mean, it's just, yeah, I learned my you know, statistics, but I'm like, could I use statistics, you know, right now, depending on my job field? But it's like, give me some more realistic, you know, traits that can help me, and you know, just I don't know. I feel like that's where my opinion is towards the, you know, education and schools. I think they kind of lack on like street smarts, in a sense. I'll say it like that. They're lacking on street smarts.
Yeah, they don't teach home ec anymore.
No,
kind of thing is one thing I can say. I actually went through. I remember going through home ec in 7th grade, and I'll date myself here. I graduated in 1990.
Oh, so, well, you don't look a day over 28, James. What are you talking about? You moisturize,
yeah,
buddy.
No, the sun hasn't got me yet, but it's getting there. But yeah, the school system is not meant to. It's meant to produce happy little workers who are just smart enough to operate the machine and get by, as George Carlin used to say. You know, there's great truth in the great comics of the past, which when you look at him and go, crap, he wasn't really lying, was he? And, you know, but I have firmly believe that if we're going to be taxing people to educate other people's children, it's you've got to put the parent in charge of that funding, because anything that puts the parent in more of a direct control of their children's education is leaps and bounds over whatever the government's going to do. Particularly the parents that want to do it. Let them go, have at it, and their kids are going to excel in ways you could not even possibly imagine through the public school system. So,
absolutely. Well, James, I want to ask before, because we're coming almost to a close in this conversation, but I want to ask, what is someone like right now the missions for the Hampton Roads Libertarian Party? What are some goals right now that the group is hoping to try and pursue locally? What kind of an impact are you guys hoping to make at least within this election season? Because this 2024 election, it's pretty big, locally, and of course we talked about on the federal level, but locally we have some big races. I'll speak for Chesapeake. We have about 4 seats that are up for grabs, including the mayoral seat. In Portsmouth, you have the two mayors, candidates running for mayor. You re-election for Shannon Glover, who's the current mayor of Portsmouth. You have Lisa Lucas Burke, who's actually the current vice mayor, running for mayor. I know there's some people on council that are actually up for re-election as well. For Virginia Beach, you have the big mayoral race as well. I believe I'm probably missing out on some. I think Newport News might have some as well. But you have some fairly popular local elections happening. So what is like the mission, or not mission? What are some of the goals that the Libertarian Party is hoping to accomplish for 2024?
Well, for 2024 locally, we like I said, we don't have any actual candidates running. We're going to comment about the people who are running, if they have any kind of libertarian stance whatsoever. Other than that, the only goal we have right now is our presidential candidate. We're going to be having our national convention to decide our presidential candidate on Memorial Day weekend. And as I mentioned before, we have petitioning requirements, which are 5,000 statewide and 200 per each congressional district. Again, so that is our main active goal right now, to get those before primary day, which is sometime in June or July. I don't know the actual date.
I believe it's June, if I'm not mistaken.
It's going to be sometime around that time frame there, whenever the actual primary in Virginia is, when they do that. May 5,000 signatures by then.
Okay, may I ask it? Okay, so because before you go, because you mentioned on the presidential race. Okay, which candidates, and we can talk from kind of like at the halfway point, back when there was at least more than really 3 in mind. But like, who were some candidates that was catching the attention of the Libertarian Party, at least for Hampton Roads? What candidates was catching the attention at the
president?
At the time? Yes.
Oh, we're going to be running our own. So none of the Democrat or Republican candidates. We have our own slate of candidates. We'll be nominating on Memorial Day. A couple of locals. Jacob Hornberger was one. He just spoke at our convention last weekend, along with Mike Tremat. Was another. We just had there was a libertarian ran for Senate in Georgia, caused the instant runoff left race. Chase Oliver.
Okay. Yes.
He is running for president this year. He's looking for the Libertarian Party nomination, so you might see him on your ballot.
Wait, now November. Is that the gentleman that just won America Samoa, or is that a different guy?
No. He ran for the U.S. Senate in Georgia.
U.S. Senate. Oh, I apologize.
Yes, U.S. Senate in Georgia. Yeah. He was the Libertarian Party candidate on the ballot, and it caused an instant runoff. So they have another election with just the Democrat and Republican on there to do that election. So he is running for president this year. Chase Oliver.
Okay, Chase Oliver. Oliver.
If you want to look him up, he might be on the ballot this November for you.
There has been some
nomination for Memorial Day.
There has been some rumors that yes, I have seen. So, and the reason why I saw Chase because what stream they had he was participating in a debate along with Jill Stein and a few other third-party
Probably
candidate. The
correct.
free and equal. Yes.
Yes,
I haven't finished it.
Done someone.
Yes. So I haven't finished it, but I have started, at least have my halfway finished with that debate. So I'm very familiar. James is a sharp guy. I would say that he spoke on some great, especially when it came to immigration. He really spoke on some pretty fair and like, hey, look, this. I mean, I really agree. I liked what he said about on that case. Now the hard part is, of course, the backing, but he really speaks some sharp ideas, and that's one thing I did like really about just that debate of what I've watched so far. Everybody was very respectful towards each other. Nobody was trying to step over the other. It wasn't
Right.
it wasn't a back and forth. Like that's where people like. I'm not ready to see a debate between Trump and Biden. I might puke.
No.
I might take some. I don't know. I might have a shot. Be like, okay, when he says this, how many interruptions are we gonna see now?
Yeah, that you need to do that with the drinking game and taking shots when certain thing happens, kind of thing, when they do that debate. But I gotta say, if you want to see more civilized debates and everything happen, Virginia actually has a law now. We've actually instilled what's called ranked choice voting. I don't know if you're familiar with that, if you've heard of that before. It's where when you go to the polls, you actually rank the candidates if there's more than two. So if there's three candidates, you go with a first choice and a second choice. And what they do is they do a tally of all the first choice votes, and whoever gets the least amount of votes, they take and they go to all their second choice votes, and they redistribute their votes to the other two candidates wherever you decided they want to go. And so anybody who has like a wasted vote argument for you, or the better candidate has to win, kind of thing, you're letting the other guy win. It's Virginia's got the system set up. We just have to implement it locally, and you need to talk to your city councils about it. So
isn't it interesting how I feel like we're going back to like almost like the straw game? Okay, pick a straw or pick a stick. You tear the stick, pick a stick. Okay, you got the law. Oh, you win. I mean, it's literally going to that level now, because it's just like
I'll be honest with you. I wish if the state, my personal opinion, if the state's going to control the ballot, they need not to put any names on the ballot. They just need to put Mayor of Chesapeake, fill in the blank. And if you can't walk that gauntlet of all the people out there with their little sticker signs out front, and here, vote my guy, and you can't go in there and type in the name of whoever you want.
It's so true, man.
You
it's so
probably
true.
Should be voting.
It's
if you can't do that little bit of research, walking in and going, okay, what's the name of the dude I should be typing in here, and at least know how to type it in.
I mean, it's the truth. And and the sad thing is, because I've never really cared for when people are like literally at the door right before you're about to vote and they're handing out information. I mean, it's like, do so if I'm at a grocery store, but when I'm actually about to go to vote, to me, and I'm weird like that, but I feel like you're testing my smartness. Like, are you think I'm dumb? Like, oh, okay. I'm already aware of who I'm going to vote for by the time I'm pulling that parking lot. But
you would be surprised.
Oh yeah. Oh,
you are the exception to the rule of people who go in there and automatically know who they're voting for on every single race. You are the exception to that rule, sir. What was it, Mark Twain said? Think of the most average person you know, and realize half the people are less than that.
That
kind of thing. So if you
I'm telling you, man, that right there always gets me. But before you go, I did want to point out or mention there has been rumors around articles of potentially what if RFK was getting the nomination for the Libertarian, and I think that's like you're just bouncing, because right now he's kind of leading as that third party option, but has the party discuss, hey, what's your thoughts on RFK by any chance? No, not really.
A lot of libertarians like him. He says some good things. I personally feel he's just an independent Democrat. You might as well just have a Democrat number 2 running. He's not a friend of gun rights at all. The Second Amendment stance he put out was now's not the time to be taking people's stuff, which doesn't tell me you support gun rights at all. It's yeah, a few of the he's got good anti-war stances I like. He's far from a perfect libertarian candidate, I would say. He's way better than Biden. I will give him that. I don't think he's going to get endorsed by the Libertarian Party. I'm pretty sure he's on the ballot in November in Virginia. I'm pretty sure they've already turned enough signatures for him.
Oh yeah, I see a lot. I'm starting to see a lot of signage. I know New Year's Eve. I know my wife and I, we were hanging out at a town center over in Virginia Beach, and there was actually a stand, a whole stand, table of a few people, about maybe like 6 that had nothing but RFK. This might have been. No, I think at the time, yeah, he had already announced that he was running as an independent. So yeah, they had a lot of literature and stuff like that. And it's funny because honestly, if he was still running as a Democrat, he probably would have been the nominee. I mean, it would have been a kind of a difference. I don't think they were letting him run. I see you making that face.
I think they were kind of Bernie Sandersing him. They were Ron Pauling him a little bit.
Very true. Very true. But with this whole unexpected, people voting unexpected or something, because
he's gonna pull out and do like a Ross Perot kind of thing. I think we're like I said, we're still gonna have a candidate going with him, going up against him. He's but yeah, he's gonna definitely be a stick in the mud for Joe Biden. I promise you that. They're not gonna like him running.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Man, well, James, I wish we could talk forever, man. But like I said, this is the first time I'm getting to meet you, and I hope to meet you sometime in person soon. Again, I'm gonna be going around so many different political events, and just popping in.
if you want, we're doing our convention on the next Sunday, the 17th or 18th, I believe it is, at 6:00 back at Nick's house. So if you want to swing on by there, feel free. And we can explain more about libertarianism to you and how it affects your life. And I'll leave you with a final note. The best thing I can always say is we want to hold the government and their agents to the same moral, ethical, and legal standards that you're going to be held to. Because if you don't have a right to do something, you certainly don't have a right to hire somebody to do it for you. So how the heck do you have the right to elect somebody to do it for you? I mean, if you can't do what the government's going to do in your name and on your behalf, how can you just authorize them to do it for you? Nobody's ever been able to explain that to me. If you can explain that to me, I will bow out and be like, you're right. It's a legitimate government power. That I have my litmus test, so nobody can do it yet. So
look, well said, sir. Look, before you go, I wanted to at least put up a couple of links that I saw. Okay, so guys, if you are if you are interested, want to hear more about as far as the Libertarian Party, I know the Hampton Roads. Do you? I didn't.
You have a Facebook page. You can put that up there if you want.
Okay. So Hampton Roads Libertarian Party, or
Libertarian Party of Hampton Roads is the actual name.
Okay, other way around. I got it mixed up. So,
yeah,
switch around. So Libertarian Party of Hampton Roads, guys, look, check it out right now on Facebook. Again, these are just 2 links that I pulled up. You have the Libertarian of Virginia, Libertarian Party of Hampton Roads. Get my words right.
That's the state party.
VA. Jeez, Aaron.
And the National Party's website.
There you go.
We're about all your rights all the time. We don't compromise on them. Like I said, if you don't have a right to do it, you don't have a right to authorize your government to do it in your name and on your behalf. Just think of it that way.
There you go, guys. Look, like James said, look, before you know it, James gonna take my job and start hosting the show, man. If I can't get my words out, I'm like, come on, Arrington. But yes, please, check them out. Even if you're, you might be a Republican, you might be a Democrat, you might be somebody that's just, hey, you're trying to find a party that really flows with your views, man. Still check them out, because you might still say, well, I'm still gonna, I'm still be a Democrat, but if a Libertarian candidate happens to be, one of the nominees, I'll consider it. Be on a local level, state and federal, guys. So be sure to check them out, because it's very important to tune in and to be informed on different sides. Because guess what? These people are going to be the ones that are going to be serving the communities, right? If you want to see something done, hey, you have to make sure you bring out so many options, because I'll be honest, man, the two-party system, you're going to keep on getting the same old, same old. And I mean, not trying to disrespect any of my friends from the Republican side or the Democratic side, but as far as, leadership is concerned, it's they're always going to be one side or the other, They're
They're
gonna
frenemies, really.
they're
To be honest
frenemies,
with you.
really.
Yeah.
They really are. It's like the cul-de-sac crew. Like they're
Left
neighbors,
wing,
but
right
they
wing,
hate each other.
same bird.
Exactly. It's so annoying. But James, I truly appreciate it again, man. You taking the time out your schedule, coming here on the podcast. You are always
Thanks a lot,
invited, sir.
Arrington.
Absolutely. I want to try and have you on when we get closer towards that election season. But I truly appreciate it, ladies and gents. Again, Mr. James St. John.
I'll
James,
try to get
take
some
care,
more of our
brother.
candidates for you too. You take it easy too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a great one. All right, guys. Once again, I hope you enjoyed another great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin podcast. Please be sure to share this information with your friends, families. Again, new episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, hey, any podcast platform, you can find the Arrington Gavin podcast on the R Smooth Club Media Network. And then you can also watch the video version same days, different time at 5 p.m. on R Smooth Club Media. Okay, R Smooth Club Media on Rumble at the Arrington Gavin podcast, and Facebook at R Smooth Club Podcast, and then also RSC Media on X. Whew, a lot of information. But hey, I hope you enjoyed, and please be sure to tune into my weekly radio show, which airs every Sundays, okay, in your city. It airs every Sundays at 12 p.m. on WNSB Hot 91.1 FM, The Soul of VA, hosted by myself, along with my good friend, comedian Ciroc Fox, and Hustle Queen, Miss Michelle Young. And of course, we got to shout out our amazing producer, Mr. Cam Godley. We're going to have a lot of fun on there. But yeah, guys, y'all take care. I will talk to you again on Monday. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. We're going to keep on doing it. I got some more great guests in store for you throughout this year, this election season. So until next time, y'all be easy. Have a great one. Peace.